Yeah, my friends, it didn't take long. It didn't take long. Eduardo Bolsonaro's visit to the President of the United States, Trump, is starting to show results. We saw the reaction that even left Globo in despair. Why were they in despair? Trump targeted Lula. We saw everything that happened last week. Ignacio, pretty much, right? Yeah, hanging around to see if he could get Trump's attention. It was that envy we noticed. And Eduardo in Washington is starting to make things really tough for those wicked people. I'll show you everything here. The results are already apparent, okay? Come be a part of our family. Subscribe, enable notifications, and share this video widely on WhatsApp, Telegram, and Facebook to help spread the word. Guys, before we start, I want to share an opportunity and show you fervor. I always post videos here, like the one I made recently, where I lost 2 kilograms in a day. Then people say, no, it's just water weight and stuff. Look at the images. Look at my face. Look at my face. I only sell the product here because I fully trust it. Look at my face. Look at the image. It's only been a few months, not even a year. It's not even a year, really. I know what I'm talking about. Look at my pants. My pants. Look how loose they are. And look, they're already here. I don't wear a belt, see? You can fit a hand in here. The product works. Obviously, you have to have discipline. That's how dieting is. You have to plan. But it helps a lot, guys. It was 20 kilos, 20 kilograms. 20 kilograms that I lost, right? After 40, it gets harder for us to lose weight. It really is more difficult. Even practicing physical activity every day. And I wasn't able to lose weight. Focus, discipline, manage to lose. The images speak for themselves. Look at my face. My face is totally different, right? So it's worth it. If you don't want to miss this opportunity, an easier, more natural way. Extremely natural. It's a little powder that you add, right? Especially to those greasy meals. It will help you eliminate fat, to lose inches. The link is right here, just below. A great opportunity to lose weight in a healthy way, with an improved quality of life. Totally. Pants that didn't fit before start to fit. Our self-esteem gets much higher. That's a fact, right? The link is right below for those who don't want to miss this opportunity to lose weight today, okay? Check this out. First, the bombshell, right? I had even put it in. The president of Colombia, Abelardo Espriella, responded to the invitation from the United States Secretary of War, Peter Hegseth. Remember that the United States invited some countries to be part of the Shield of the Americas, right? Starting August 7th, Colombia will be part of the Shield of the Americas with the United States. Colombia will no longer be governed by a government that is complacent with narco-terrorism. We will start fighting it as appropriate, it says here. More of an ally of Trump. He is already seen by the White House as a likely boucle in Colombia. Crime there also happens behind closed doors. The United States will give full support to the Colombian president, as we know. It's an extremely dangerous place, and he speaks openly here. He will bomb narco-terrorist camps as soon as he takes office, and he will take office now in August.
To give the order on August 8th to start spraying more than 330,000 hectares of coca, which are the primary source of all forms of violence. And I will give the order to bomb all the narco-terrorist camps, making use of available technology to minimize the impact on the civilian population, but the bombings will return. I will also instruct the commanders of the Air Force, the Army, and the police to shoot down any drug-laden plane that leaves Colombia. I take responsibility for that. And I will also give the order to sink all the boats that leave through the Caribbean, the Pacific, and the Gulf of Urabá. Peaceful protest is protected by the Constitution. Anyone who wants to protest peacefully should be allowed. But whoever blocks roads, whoever attacks infrastructure, whoever tries to attack the security forces, whoever threatens the life, honor, and property of the Colombian people will find out how hard the tiger bites.
Even more so with the help of the United States, right? And speaking of partnership, Eduardo Bolsonaro was at the State Department in Rubio's department, right? To discuss the reinstatement of sanctions against Moraes. The media is showing now, even the far-left media itself, that if Moraes wants to play around and do harm to President Bolsonaro, today, he asked the police to take a statement about the so-called weapon. That, they set up an ambush to get this weapon from President Bolsonaro, which was broken. And then President Bolsonaro gave it to his security guard, like, go there, get it fixed. He's military. Bolsonaro is a military man. He's at his house. Okay? The gun is at his house. The house is his. It was broken there and didn't work. The gun doesn't work. How are the police supposed to stop someone? Look, it's already hard enough for the police to stop someone because the police officer knows who's a criminal and who isn't, just by looking. I have a lot of police officer friends who say that. And I said, I've already told this story here. When I was younger, right? One of my best friends is a police officer, a lieutenant in the military police, and we used to go out everywhere, right? He was impressive. He'd look at people on the street and instantly know who was a criminal and who wasn't, right? And do you think the police would stop? An official, right? A security officer who is part of the army and all, on the very day he's holding it there, when he's with Bolsonaro's gun, it's something that feels kind of weird, right? But that's how it is. Because he knew. They were trying to get a foul, right? Trying to get a foul to put President Bolsonaro in a difficult situation. That's clear and obvious. Let's take a look at Eduardo here.
This information is exclusive and just in. Eduardo Bolsonaro, accompanied by his allies, has just arrived at the U.S. State Department. He is expected to spend this afternoon in meetings in an attempt to convince U.S. authorities to lift the trade sanctions, the heavy tariffs that have been imposed on our country, and to exchange them for the reinstatement of the Magnitsky Act against some Brazilian authorities. Later tonight, Eduardo Bolsonaro will attend a dinner with at least 20 senators from here in the United States. This trip includes...
And that dinner happened yesterday, right? Last night. And it was a success. Because after Eduardo met with Rubio's people and those senators, Trump shared a post saying that the election in Brazil is his next challenge.
Phew.
And the folks from Globo, look, everything was cheap. I'm out of here. Everything was cheap. I'm out of here. The guys were desperate, completely desperate with this situation that unfolded. Look here, see. Trump's repost left Lula terrified.
From a Trump post, is that it?
That's right.
About the elections here in Brazil. Did you see?
Did you see? Exactly. Trump actually reposted an article that appeared on the Newsmax website. Newsmax is one of those media conglomerates that grew a lot with Trumpism. It is sometimes described by American press analysts as a conservative media site and group, or right-wing, or even far-right. The fact is that Newsmax is totally aligned with Trump. Next test, next big test, that's how the subheading reads, Brazil. And it says, attention now turns to Brazil, the largest country in Latin America, and the political heavyweight of the region. The upcoming presidential elections may be the most important contest in the entire hemisphere. Supporters of former President Jair Bolsonaro are now joining, in fact, they have joined his son in trying to oppose the leftist president Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva. The election is already generating intense debate. All of this I mentioned in the article. Intense debate about the integrity of the Brazilian electoral system and whether this election will be conducted in a way that is seen by all sides as free and fair. If Brazil joins this list of countries that are moving to the right, the political map of Latin America will look dramatically different from what it does now. Meanwhile, the recent victories in Colombia and Peru are also leading to the victory of Keiko Fujimori. It represents the latest evidence that a powerful political shift is happening throughout the hemisphere. which is clearly influenced by the priorities and policies of President Donald J. Trump. And that's the end.
It's basically the end of the São Paulo Forum. Trump is putting an end to the São Paulo Forum. Today, Rubio imposed extremely tough sanctions on Cuba. The situation became more complicated. In other words, what is Trump doing? He's suffocating this whole forum of communists and leftists that has only destroyed the Americas, right? And they did all of that. Brazil, my friends, look, just look, under the command of these nefarious people. It practically went back about 50 years. About 50 years in every way, Brazil doesn't have any quality schools anymore, except private schools. Public schools are deteriorated, they're rotten, destroyed. And I'm not talking nonsense here, not at all. The schools are destroyed, ruined, right? We don't have security. No one can walk on the streets. No one can walk on the streets. At least, not safely, right? Except in small towns. Forget about the big cities. Just forget it. Look at what the left has produced here. Just chaos, panic, destruction, right? A terrible setback. So we can see, right, a new path in South America. And what was done here was done in Colombia. It was done in Venezuela, right? Nicolas Maduro funded the campaigns of these wicked people in Argentina and Peru. Lula then brought the corrupt one here to avoid more trouble. She threatened to spill the beans. It was done in Nicaragua. It was done in Cuba. In other words, the total destruction of South America. And also Central America. Right? And Trump came in determined. That was one of his campaign promises. To put an end to the São Paulo Forum. Annihilating. Those guys are desperate now, right? So, look at these sites. The ones that are getting a lot of traction. These right-wing, far-right sites. They're idiots, right? I know it's pure far-left stuff. And there are going to be a lot of changes here. That's a fact, obviously, okay? And it's really cool to see this whole situation. It's Trump bringing order to the world. Whether they like it or not, that's what we're seeing, okay? Watch out, Ignacio. The guy is right on your tail. Hit the like button. Come be part of our family. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notification bell. Leave your comments. I'm back with more news and information here on the Pise Filos Fabiano Gigay channel.